Hi guys. So last class we discussed about useEffect hook, and we understood how we can use it to also react when the component is loaded for the first time, right? This is the diagram that explains it. But there is one more problem which we want to handle is that what you can do when a component is removed. For example, if I'm removing a component from the HTML, then is there some function that will automatically be called, like a destructure for a destructor for a class? Can we do something similar when a component is removed from the HTML? And the answer is yes. So when a component is removed from the HTML, then we can also run a function, and to do that we need to write a function, let us say here itself, and I will give it a name, maybe component removed function. Okay, and this function I will just write a console.log of component removed. Component removed. Now you look at this function. This particular function, if we want it to be called when the component is removed, it can be removed from by many ways, even by routing, which we will learn, or even by conditionally showing or hiding a component. So in this situation, we just need to return this function from the same useEffect hook, which we used to run when the component is loaded, which means it should have an empty array. This same function, if you return a function, see here you are running a function, right? But inside that function, if you return a function, then this particular function, which is returned from this useEffect hook, will be called when the component is removed from the HTML. All right. So this particular function that you see here, this one is going to be called when the component is removed. And this particular entire code is called when the component is mounted or placed in the HTML. So let us now try to implement this functionality. And to do this, what we will do is we will just show and hide this counter component. We already know how we can show and hide components in React. So we will just conditionally show and hide our counter component. To do that, I'm going to create a state variable this time. So let me just again quickly do that. Create a state variable show and set show, or better maybe hide. Set hide, that should be better, is equal to use state and give it a use state and give it a value of false, because we don't want to hide it in the beginning. Now next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to now add a button here in the top here. On click equal to show hide function. And what we will do is we will toggle this value of hide when we call this function, which means if I call it for the first time, and if it is the value of hide is false, it will become true. And if I click it again, and if the value of hide is true, it will become false. It will just reverse the value. So let me write the function show hide equal to and here I'm going to just do one thing, set hide, and whatever the previous value of hide is, I will reverse that using not hide, which means not hide, which means if the value is true, this will become false, and if the value is false, it will become true. This is just toggling the value. So I'll just write a comment. If it reverses the value of hide, if it is false, it becomes true, and if it is true, it becomes false. That's all. All right, save it. And now let us try to see if our functionality is working. Okay, by the way, we need one more thing. Now we need to conditionally show and hide this counter component, and we know how to do that. Just put a curly brace, add a condition, add a condition. And the condition is if the hide value is false, then do not show it. Otherwise, show it. That's it. Save it now. So if the hide value is true, if the hide value is true, then it will not show the component. If it is false, which is in the beginning by default, then it will show the component. Very simple piece of code. Now let us try to run our code. So right now the counter is shown. Now the moment I try to hide the counter, it is going to remove the counter from my HTML, from here, this page, from this page. So automatically the component did removed will be called because it is getting removed from the page, and we should be able to see the console.log printing component removed. Let me open my console and let me now try to hide. And okay, it is supposed to show it. All right, I believe we have done some small silly error. Let me just look at it. All right, guys. So I believe I have done a small error where I have not saved it. So let me just save it. And now let us go back and try to run this piece of code. So now I'm trying to just hide this counter component. So once I click on it, you can see that the component removed is called. When I again click, the component is placed in the HTML, which means the useEffect hook is going to run, and it will run this function inside the useEffect, and counter component loaded should print here, which is again working. When I click on hide, you can again see component removed and show again counter component loaded. So that is the way we can respond when a component is placed in the HTML using useEffect, and we can also respond when a component is removed from the HTML. So now, guys, try to write this piece of code, and if you have any questions, then you can let me know.